folks, I'm Richard Friedman, and welcome to my political cartoon countdown for February 19th, 2021. Every so often, every couple of weeks or so, we get together and we do my political cartoon countdown based upon reactions on Twitter, the most 5 popular cartoons. We start with number 5 and we work our way up to the number 1 cartoon for the last week or two, whatever it's been. So before we get started, folks, I just want to mention to you that my new book, The Greatest Book of Political Cartoons on the Donald J. Trump, on issues of the Donald J. Trump presidency, is now available from Amazon. And I gotta tell you, I priced it as low as I could go without losing money for myself. So I really would like you to have a look at it. Just take a good look at it, and you can see it on my website, which is Richard's Books of PoliticalCartoons.com. Richard's no apostrophe and all small letters and no spaces. Richard's Books of PoliticalCartoons.com. And that's where all my other series of books going back to the election of 2016, a whole chronology of books on issues of the Donald J. Trump presidency. It's like an historical reference that you'll, anytime something happens, you could probably go to it and find the incident or whatever as a reference. And it's historical and it's funny, and I hope you would enjoy it. And if you have a chance, go to my website and check it out. And let's get started now on the countdown, starting off with the number 5 political cartoon. Okay, here it is. Let's look at the characters here. Here we have Kevin McCarthy, and then we have Representative Liz Cheney. Kevin McCarthy is the House Minority Leader now. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy and Republican Representative Liz Cheney. Okay, there's a cartoon. Okay, let's have a go at what's happening here. Kevin McCarthy, House Republican leader, reportedly tried to get Representative Liz Cheney to apologize for her vote to impeach former President Trump. That before the House GOP vote to determine if Cheney would keep her position as GOP conference chairwoman, a vote which is also reportedly called at her insistence. In other words, Liz Cheney insisted, and I don't know if she insisted or not, but she requested, let's put it that way, that they have a vote to see, because she was getting a lot of flack for having voted that way along outside of the herd of Republicans. She went outside the herd, and she voted to impeach President Trump based upon his alleged inciting of the riot, Capitol riot. So it was clearly, we all saw what happened, but I don't know where that's going to go. But I don't want to get too hard. I don't want to hit that one too hard because that's still up in the air, and a lot of things are going on with that. So I don't want to really hit that one too hard, except to say that what Kevin McCarthy, Representative Kevin McCarthy, did was he tried to smooth things over with Liz Cheney to get her to apologize to President Trump for having said that, or to some way mitigate it, to make it look, well, I'm sorry, something like that, slip of the tongue, whatever. So here it goes, the cartoon. Let's have a go at it. And here he is, McCarthy. Look, Liz, if you apologize right now, it could sway some votes. You might even keep your leadership position, because they were threatening her, take away her position. And then she goes, Liz Cheney goes, look, Kevin, there she goes, look, Kevin, I cannot do that. It was a vote of conscience. I couldn't sleep at night if I did that, okay? Yeah. And then McCarthy answers her back. Ed McCarthy answers her back. Liz, let's compromise. Don't apologize, but I will just say you expressed to me tears of remorse. And just in case, you can take Advil PM for sleep. If your conscience bothers you, take some Advil PM, you know? So, and then here's Liz Cheney retorting to that, responding. And she's saying, Kevin, no go. I would then have to take Advil PM and AM for the rest of my life. And besides, I called for this asshole vote, you know, because, I mean, I'll leave that up to you folks, okay? So that was the number 5 cartoon. There it is. Liz Cheney, Kevin McCarthy, their talk, the talk they had, how it might have gone. Okay, coming up, number 4, numero 4. Here we have, again, we have Representative Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, and here he is with GOP Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now, she's been saying a lot of things, so Kevin McCarthy basically here is trying to calm it down a little bit. He's thinking to himself, well, she could be very useful in the future, you know, but right now she's a pain in the ass. All we gotta do is keep her quiet for a little while, and down the road, she could be very helpful to us, basically to the Republican part of the Republican Party that's loyal to President Trump, which he is part of that division of that party. That's the best way to put that one. So anyway, so there it is. And there she is, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene with a Trump face mask, you know. Very stylish for that Republican end of the, you know. They could make a magazine, you know, the style of Trump clothes, you know, for debating and for campaigning, you know, and for face masks. You know, so anyway, so here goes that. So here she goes, and here's the thing, the introduction to that cartoon. House Republican Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy meets with GOP Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene amid opposing ends of the Republican Party face unrest as she embraces QAnon and expounds outlandish conspiracy theories, e.g., mass shootings at the nation's schools were staged hoaxes, amid Democrats in the House prepared to vote on removing Greene from her committees. Example, Education Committee. She was, I guess, appointed by Kevin McCarthy. The House, he's the big shot. He's the boss of the Republicans to be on the Education Committee, you know. So anyway, so here goes the cartoon for that when they met. Okay, there's a cartoon. Okay, Kevin, how do you like my new Trump face mask? Because he's just got a new Trump face mask here. How do you like my new Trump face mask, Kevin? And then Kevin McCarthy here. He says, Marjorie, President Trump is very proud of you, but many of our party members are very upset with your remarks and that 2019 video where you suggested the Parkland school shooting was a false flag. False flag, meaning it wasn't the people who they were led to believe. It was some sort of a conspiracy theory led by a group to outrage. You know, a false flag is like a decoy of some kind to say, well, it wasn't who you thought it was. It was them. Try to kind of I guess you would call cover up the true culprits or whatever, or make up some thought of theory that is in line with their thinking. You know, it's like bending the truth to your view, kind of like. false flag, you know. So anyway, and that 2019 video where you suggested the Parkland school shooting was a false flag and showed you harassing a teenage survivor, how about apologizing and cooling it for a while and maybe only resigning from just the education committee, you know? Keep you on your other committee, but just the education committee, because that don't look good when you're harassing a student, a former high school student who's for no reason. He wasn't bothering her, and she just went out there to pick some sort of a fight with him over gun law or something to do with gun law, and you know, he's trying to take away guns or something like that to do with gun law restrictions or something. So anyway, that's a very important issue, but the thing was that this is somebody who to go out and just harass somebody like that. We saw that on the television and we saw that video. So somebody who's an elected official on top of that and then put on the education committee. I mean, so anyway, so with that background in mind, here's her retort answer to that harassment to Kevin McCarthy here when he suggested that she resign from the education committee. You know, don't look good. You harassing somebody from Parkland, a student from Parkland, and you're on the education committee. That don't look too good. So anyway, so here goes her retort here. Kevin, I understand that could be a problem. That could be a problem, very true. But gun and firearm educational training for our elementary and high school students is my #1 educational priority. So that's where she's coming from in this cartoon. I just, because this is the joke, but I don't know if she said it or not. Anything is possible, but that's based upon her harassment of that student would be in line with her thinking to say something like that. You know, it's kind of like connecting the dots without you know, a hypothetical thing, kind of, to make the point and make the joke. And there it is. So, needless to say, the Democrats took care of that, and she's not on the education committee anymore. I'm sure that transpired. So, okay, that was that. Okay, moving up now. Here we have, this wasn't too long ago. Here we have now, former President Trump's lead impeachment attorney, Bruce Castor. Now, I was sitting there watching it, and I was just, you know, eating a sandwich, drinking a Coke, and I don't know what I couldn't figure out where he was coming from, you know. I don't remember. I couldn't even do a cartoon on that because it was like I couldn't figure it out what his the thrust of his argument was to defend President Trump there, yeah. So I was just drinking a Coke, eating my sandwich, you know, and just I don't know what, just waiting for him to hit on to you know, for things to happen here. So anyway, so here's a cartoon. Did very well. A lot of people thought this was humorous, I guess. Former President Trump's lead impeachment attorney, Bruce Castor, unconscious exit strategy of getting fired by the former president. Now, I assume I connect the dots here that for him to this is I'm sure is a well-established attorney. For him to make a defense like that was just kind of wishy-washy, you know. I mean, I couldn't conceive that he would just sit down and think of this thing through and without any kind of a plan here. So I went ahead and said, well, unconsciously, maybe just unconsciously, he just wanted to get fired, because he did say after the Democrats put on such a good performance, he changed his routine. So therefore this is his upgraded routine. Imagine if they didn't put on a bad performance, and he kept his old routine, what that would have been like. So maybe we got lucky, or whatever how you want to look at it. So anyway, former President Trump's lead impeachment attorney Bruce Cass, unconscious. So I'm saying unconsciously he might have wanted to get out, and this was his parachute to get off that plane, off that legal plane of defending President Trump. Kicks off impeachment trial by suggesting Trump should be arrested. Now, he said basically, if you can't impeach him because the Constitution, I talked about this before, so I'm not going to repeat my view. I really don't give my view too often, but I did then. But the point is that it's debatable. It's really debatable. There's nothing in the Constitution that says you can't have a trial, impeachment trial, or even impeach a president after he's out of office. There's nothing in the and it doesn't say it does. It doesn't say it doesn't. So, with keeping in the theme of the balance of power, it would seem contradictory for them to, if they were around today, to say, well, you can't do that because we back then we made it. I don't think that would ever happen if you brought those people back here and put them to judge their own constitution or their own constitutionality of their own constitution. I don't think they would have gone along with Mitch McConnell constitutional scenario. Anyway, so here's what I'm saying here. Basically, is that okay? Trump should be arrested. He said that as opposed to impeaching him, if you think he did something wrong, arrest the man. That's his attorney. As he pushes back on Democrats' arguments that impeachment is the right way to hold the president accountable for last-minute misconduct. So they're saying here is that the argument here is that a president, basically at the last days of his presidency, can do anything, and then get walk away not scot-free, that he couldn't be prosecuted, but it would set the precedent for future presidents to come along, and they could think the same thing. Well, I could just, I could plan to nominate, get a vice president and resign, and a vice president pardons me, and then I'm off scot-free. I get the pardon, and I don't get impeached. So it sets up a game plan for future presidents. If someday we have a president, let make President Trump look. I said this before, look like Gomer Pyle, or Don Knotts in Mayberry, Sheriff Barney Fife. We could have a president make President Trump look like Sheriff Barney Fife from Mayberry. I mean, unless we really put the brakes on this in terms of legislation and all that, I don't know if they're going to do that or not. Well, anyway, so here goes the cartoon. Okay, so here's Bruce Castor. Here he is, and he's saying, after he's out of office, then you go and arrest him. He said that, and then he's thinking. This is what he's thinking in his mind. He's thinking this, assuming unconsciously he wants off the case. So Castor, you're fired. He's thinking this in his mind. This isn't happening. He's thinking this, and then he would get fired from the case, and that's it. No more paychecks, but no more aggravation like this, So there it is. It's Bruce Castor, and there it is. Okay. Oh, moving up there, going at this. Okay, here we have. Check this out here. This was going back to the day of the Capitol riot, with, again, Kevin McCarthy in his office calling President Trump to get the president to then take some action to stop the rioters from vandalizing and going after people, going after all government officials and lawmakers, and threatening to get them the hell out of the place. But President Trump did not take the action at that moment in time that was needed to be be taken. So Kevin McCarthy is on the phone speaking with the president, and as we see here, there is a rioter going through the window right behind him in his office. You see, there he is with his gavel. You see, he's got his gavel here, and then his bottle of water here. You know, and the American flag. I drew this from his office. I took a picture of it. I kind of just zoomed in on his office and get how it might have looked. So he's on his cell phone, and there he comes through the window. A rioter breaks through the window with his red Trump hat on. And he's pushing the curtains back, and he's ready to get through. So in that moment, here's Kevin, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy on the phone to President Trump. Okay, here we go. Mr. President, you have got to call off this mob. I beg you to intervene. Okay, and here's President Trump speaking to him from the Oval Office. I can't do that because it is made up of left-wing extremists from Antifa, means anti-fascist group. Antifa is an anti-fascist group, basically a left-wing group, and they're against fascism. They're seeking out the other side of the coin, kind of. So then McCarthy, here's McCarthy again. And he's saying, that's not true. This is a MAGA mob. MAGA, Make America Great Again mob. Okay? And there you see the Trump hat, and there it is. And then we have President Trump again. Well, Kevin, I guess these people are more upset about the election than you are. You know, he's kind of putting down Kevin, saying he should be more upset about the election than he should be about rioters breaking into his window. You know, basically that's what the president said. That was recorded, and we all heard him say that. He should be more upset about the election than somebody breaking into his window of his office, you know. So anyway, so here's Kevin McCarthy again, going back. And he's saying, the rioters are breaking into my office through the windows. Who the F blank blank do you think you are talking to? There he goes. And then we have President Trump retorting. President Trump isn't being pushed around by anybody. You can see that here. He's saying, who the bigger F ... do you think you are talking to? The bigger F ... do you think you are talking to? And then here's Kevin McCarthy, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, kind of caves at this point. And he says, Mr. President, everything is going to be fine. I'm just a little bit upset right now. See you soon. Hope to. Bye. He's just a little upset, you know. So, well, basically, see you soon. So Kevin McCarthy flew down to Mar-a-Lago about 2 weeks after the riot and kind of had a peace, smoked a peace pipe with President Trump. And they're going to work together on a new Republican Party. So, and now you got Mitch McConnell, who wants to break away from Trump. So you have like it's like the Titanic when it went down, you know, and the Titanic hit the iceberg, and after a couple hours, the thing went and it broke in half. You see the ship going. Well, that looks like what's happening in the Republican Party. the Republican Party, is that it's unless they really find a way to get together, it's going to go like the Titanic. It's just going to break in half and boom. It looks that way because if they're going to keep attacking each other, then the Democrats can just sit back and let them destroy each other. And you need a Republican Party. It's bad to have one party dominant. I always believe that. Whenever I always voted, I voted for Republicans down in the past. I thought were good candidates. And I'll tell you one Republican I voted for. I voted for George Herbert Walker Bush, the old man. I think he was 41, and I wasn't sorry I did that. HW, so I wasn't sorry I did that, and so there you have it. Okay, whoop, yeah. Okay, one last shot at this. Okay. All right, folks. I never would have expected this, but this is the number one. Although by far, I'll have to tell you that. The number one cartoon. And here we have Liz Cheney, Muammar Gaddafi, and this is Florida GOP Representative Matt Gaetz. So he went to Wyoming, because he was pissed off at Liz Cheney, and he was trying to stir up some controversy, I guess, against Liz Cheney for having voted for the impeachment of President Trump. So here it is. There's Matt, Liz, and Muammar Gaddafi. And it all comes together. This is the man who brings it all together. Okay. Now we have here Florida. Okay, take a look at this. Liz Cheney, Matt Gaetz. Okay. Florida GOP Representative Matt Gaetz responds to reports that the Wyoming Republican Party voted overwhelmingly on February 6th to censor Representative Liz Cheney. Well, they did do that. That's one thing that was a negative outcome of her voting to impeach. She was censored by her own party back in Wyoming for her voting to impeach then President Donald Trump for his role in the January 6th riot at the U.S. Capitol. This following Gaetz' trip to Wyoming as part of his push to oust Cheney from her he was trying to oust her from her congressional leadership position. In other words, to get the people there to put pressure on the Republicans to kick her out. So what Liz did was she got smart, and she forced them to show their hand. Like in a poker, you got to show your hand when you call somebody. Well, she called their bluff, and she got them to vote. So they all had to say how they were voting. So that would mean that they put them in a position here where they have to. So the lady, she said she voted with her conscience, and her conscience, or President Trump's thoughts, bases that. So it was a no-win situation. So they did the next best thing, and they couldn't get the votes to kick her out of her positions. And so she called them. She called their bluff and made them show their hands, and they didn't want to go. They didn't want to go public on kicking out Liz Cheney. So there you have it. Politics, you see. So anyway, so Liz Cheney is now less popular. So position with the Republican, saying Liz Cheney is now less popular among. Now here's what Matt Gaetz went on to say. I mean, he wasn't happy. He wasn't satisfied talking about that she betrayed, in his mind, President Trump, and betrayed the country, and all this and that. he took it a step further in a way, and he says, Liz Cheney is now less popular among Wyoming Republicans than Muammar Gaddafi was among Libyans. Now, we all saw many years ago, it wasn't that long ago, but what they did to Gaddafi over there in Libya, you know, that was really something. So anyway, so he's saying that Liz Cheney is really they have a lot of animosity towards Liz Cheney, the Wyoming Republicans. So here he goes, and he's gonna. What I did basically was, I took it a logical step, well, a step further than he did, as a progression to what he just said. To make the point and to make the joke. Okay, and here it goes. All right, so here we got, that's it for Cheney here. She is history with the Wyoming Republican Party of Trump. In 2022, she's gone up for re-election. Liz Cheney's up for re-election in 2022. We could primary her, in other words, bring in a Republican challenge for the Republican nomination to her House seat. We could get another Republican to challenge her for the Republican nomination for her seat. Okay, that's what primary means. We could primary her against a reincarnated Muammar Gaddafi. So he's saying we bring back Gaddafi, and we could run Gaddafi against a reincarnated Gaddafi, and she'd still beat him. And Gaddafi would still beat her, because she's so unpopular that they would vote for a reincarnated Muammar Gaddafi as opposed to voting for Liz Cheney. And there you have it. With a red hat, there's Gaddafi with the red hat, Make America Great Again. The campaign begins. All right. All right, folks, I want to thank you very much for watching my cartoon countdown, and I wish you all the best, and stay safe, and do the best you can to get those vaccines, because those vaccines, I'm hearing a lot of good stuff about them. There's things coming out now, mutations and all that business, but you're better off, even no matter what comes along, you're still better off with the vaccine than you would be without it. It's a little, the virus is a little, it's not like it was, it's replicating and mutating, but the thing of the matter is that the more people get vaccinated, the less people get sick, and the less people get sick, the virus can't continue to mutate. So not only you're fighting the virus when you get shots, you get your vaccines, you're fighting the mutations of the virus at the same time, which are more, in some cases, more deadly and are more contagious. So I would tell you, folks, I took a long trip to get my vaccine. I took a long trip, and I feel good that I did that, and that's how it is. So just hang in there, have faith in the future, and I know a lot of you, it happens to me all the time. I walk out of the house, I'm down, I don't got my mask. I go upstairs again, get that mask. It's like running out without clothes. I don't find my clothes, I find my mask. So anyway, I wish you folks the best. I want to thank you very much, and you take care of yourself, and God bless you, and God bless America.